Well, Mr. Javadekar doesn't agree, but that's his right to disagree. So we heard the politicians and the BJP and left demand that there should be a whole-scale cancellation of coal blocks allocation. But let's go across to a man with a different perspective, the head of the Confederation of Indian Industry, Godrej, whom I spoke to earlier. I began by asking him what he feels about this opposition demand on whole-scale cancellation of coal block allocations.
No, we have already stated that there is no question of wholesale cancellation of coal allocations. These allocations have been done under due process. If there are some defaults, if there are some issues where terms of the contract have not been adhered to, then certainly notices should be sent out. But there is no question of cancellation of the allocations.
Other industrialists and Deepak Parekh, a respected corporate voice, have made the point that it will set India back many years. Why do you think it shouldn't be done? Mr. Godrej, why do you think this cancellation should not be done? What do you think the impact will be?
Because everything in the country must be done by due process.
The opposition has argued, and the BJP has made this point, that the reason corporate India doesn't want it cancelled is because some of corporate India has benefited from this and this nexus between corporates and governments. Would you agree?
No, I don't think that's an issue. If there is malfeasance, then action certainly should be taken. But if there is no malfeasance, then there is no question of taking action.
Right, but the opposition would argue, sir, that the whole policy is rotten, that the whole policy of allocation versus auction, the way it was done is rotten. So why not cancel wholesale? You can't go one by one.
No, because if policy is set by the government of the time, then that is what people will work with and enter into. If there is any malfeasance, then action should be taken. And I am not aware of anybody having said that coal allocation should be cancelled except the opposition.
Right. Final question, sir, of course, tonight. Can economics divorce itself from the political mood of the day? Because we've seen that increasingly there seems to be, at least in the opposition, this whole feeling that there's a collusion between government and business. Is the mood now, at least the political mood, anti-business, anti-reform?
We don't ask anybody to do anything which is pro-business. We want the economic policies of the country to be transparent and fair. And we do hope that political considerations do not come in the way of the right economic decision making. Whenever we have ensured that economic policies are framed with a view to future growth, they have been very successful. If economic policies depend on political considerations, they tend not to be good for the country.
Mr. Godrej, thanks very much for those frank words on this interview tonight. Thank you for joining me. But let's move now to a world far removed from the hooliganism that dominates our headlines today.